So for this first video, I'll be going over the Hello World program, which will just simply print out Hello World on the computer. For this program, I'm going to be using a text editor called Geany. This is not what I'm going to use most of the time. I use this a lot when I'm using Linux. In fact, you'll see me jumping between operating systems on occasion. Sometimes I'll be recording in Linux, sometimes I'll be recording in Windows. I'm fairly operating system agnostic. It's just that Windows right now is recording better, so we're going to be working in Windows for right now. Most of the time I will be using IntelliJ, which will streamline this whole building and writing a program process, but I wanted a bit more modular control. I wanted to show you how Java works the hard way before we go into the easy way. Now, the only thing I dislike about Java is actually this first part, which is teaching how to write your first program, because there's a lot of black magic that seems to go into it. You have to say all the right magic words, do all the right incantations to write your first program. So let's go ahead and start that. So I've created a file called Hello World, where hello, the H in hello and the world are both capitalized. And it ends in a .java. And so the first thing I'm going to type is public class hello world. Now it's very important that this matches the file name. Hello world matches the hello world that's before the .java. So, and it's case sensitive. So if you named it hello.java, you'll want to call it public class hello. So it's very important that this file name and this class name match. So the next thing we do is put out curly braces. So these curly braces define scope. So they say anything between these two curly braces are part of the Hello World program. We'll talk more about what public and class are later. But that's how we define a new class, a new file, a new program that's called Hello World. The next thing we do is we write our main method, which we do by writing public static void main. So public, again, it's a repeat of this one. Static, we'll, again, define what that is later. Void means it won't return anything. Main, it takes in string array arguments. Again, if you're not sure what that means, it will all be defined later. And then we have another pair of curly braces, which will define anything between these two curly braces is part of main. The white space doesn't actually matter, unlike some other programming languages. So we could do this in one one line, like I did just over here, right, wrapped around here. But your fellow developers will hate you, and so don't do that. It doesn't look good either, right? It's better to use the indentation properly. So how do we actually make it do something now that we've got a place to define a main method? Well, we do that by writing system.out.println, which this command says, whatever's in the parentheses, please print it out. So system.out.println. And then any text that we want to print out, we'll put it in two quotation marks for a string. And it's very important that these are quotation marks, not single tick marks. And so we'll write hello, comma, world, exclamation point, and then we'd use a semicolon over here to end the statement. So anytime we end a statement, we put a semicolon after that. All right, so that's it for hello world. That's all we have to do. So the next thing we do is that we need to run it. So typically in Java, there is a nice in IntelliJ or in any other IDE like you use like Eclipse, there's a nice button that you can hit that says, hey, compile this and run it. And here I've got something nice like that where I can hit compile. It will automatically compile it. Notice that a new file came out over here, and then run it, and then it comes out hello world, which doesn't seem hard. I said we're going to do this the hard way first. But what this is using is that it's primarily just using the command line to actually do that, and it's automatically just building it for me. So we're going to actually see the way that it works. If you can't do this on your computer because you didn't set up the path, that's perfectly fine. So as long as you can perform this in IntelliJ, you'll be fine. So cd desktop, so I'm navigating to where it is. And the reason I'm doing this is that I want you to see what happens when Java compiles something. So Java, which stands for Java compile, hello world.java. So that compiles hello world. Notice that we got a new file over here. And then we run that program by going Java hello world. Not hello world, sorry, not hello world.class. Autocomplete was a bit too helpful there. Hello world. And notice that it printed out hello world. Then it put out a new line for it to continue, and we are on to the next line, right? And you, depending on whether you're using Unix or whatnot, that might have an extra line or not. Typically, it seems to have it, but it's perfectly fine over here. So let's go ahead and just take a look at what happened here. Java C or Javac, that took this and compiled it into Java bytecode, a program or a programming language that the Java virtual machine can understand. It's kind of unintelligible for humans. Do I have Vim on here? No, I do not. But fortunately, I do have this handy dandy text editor over here. Let's go ahead and open desktop. Let's see. It does not want to open it at all. So what we're going to do is that we are going to go ahead and let's see. Will Visual Studio Code work for this? Class. Not display. I want to open it anyway. And so it looks like this. Unintelligible stuff, a 7, which probably was a mistake. Oh, that looks somewhat intelligible, but most of it's unintelligible. It's saying that it's from hello-world.java. Oh, there's the hello world string that we have in there. So it's a bunch of commands of some kind, and then it eventually prints out hello world. But this is unintelligible for humans to read. You can't read it if you're a human, right? This is not meant for a human to read. This is meant for a machine to read. So that's what I have. So that's our first program. But most of the time, this is actually much easier. We just do this in IntelliJ. So public class hello world. PSVM, public stack void main, string args, out, and I'll teach you all how I just did that in a bit. But I do hello, comma world. Let's see, Shift F10 to run it. Let's see. Oh, we're in our. So let me go ahead and exit distraction-free mode. Run hello world.main, and pop. There we go. Hello world. So, and then all I have to do is just hit this button and it all runs.